Welcome back to VidZet. I'm Dr. Ted Noel. America owes a great debt to Zdenek Gazda, who posted that outstanding video of Hillary Clinton being loaded into the Scooby van. Without it, we would have very little information that would allow us to question the official story. According to the public timeline, Hillary Clinton spent about 90 minutes at the Ground Zero 9/11 memorial service. Then she felt ill in some unspecified way and asked her team to get her out of there. She walked under her own power to the exit and collapsed as she was entering the Scooby van. Hillary Clinton was taken to her daughter's apartment where she received unspecified medical care. About 90 minutes after her collapse, Hillary is seen on the sidewalk, smiling, waving, and greeting a child. Her campaign released a statement by Dr. Lisa Bardak that she had become, quote, overheated and dehydrated at the event and was now fine. The non-medical media can be excused a little bit here, but their medical reporters simply have not been asking the necessary questions. Could it be that we've heard this story before? When Hillary fell in 2005, it was blamed on dehydration. Ditto for 2009 when she broke her elbow, and in 2012 when she struck her head and had that concussion. Shortly thereafter, Hillary developed a transverse sinus thrombosis, possibly brought on by dehydration, this time due to influenza she suffered after the fall. Do I sense a pattern here? It seems that everything gets blamed on dehydration. But since dehydration is such a serious concern for her transverse sinus thrombosis, shouldn't she take extreme pains to avoid it? Dehydration is actually really not complicated at all. There are only two ways to get dehydration. First, you lose water, or you don't drink it. Hillary wasn't dehydrated when she got to Ground Zero, so that leaves us with the question of how did she lose water? Now, the easiest way to lose water is to sweat like I do on the golf course. But it was 79 degrees with moderate humidity. Photos of her do not show any sweat. Thus, the overheated comment is strongly suspect. This leaves us with less healthy ways to lose water: vomiting, diarrhea, and bleeding. It's pretty clear that none of those happened. So how did Hillary get dehydrated? I don't believe that she did. No mechanism exists that could make her dehydrated in public without any visible sign. The next question is, how did Dr. Bardak get from Mount Kisco to Manhattan in time to treat Hillary's dehydration so that Hillary could be back in public in 90 minutes? Really? MapQuest says the drive takes about an hour. Let's look at the evidence. It has been the premise of this analyst that Hillary Clinton has Parkinson's disease, and that leads us to new data points. At the memorial, Hillary Clinton was wearing striking blue sunglasses. These are the same ones we saw her wear at the Chappaqua Memorial Day celebration. But at Ground Zero, the day was overcast. Very few other people were wearing sunglasses, and none in the news coverage I checked were this unusual, brilliant blue. Is she wearing them because in a number of cases, these blue lenses improve major motion disorders such as Parkinson's disease? Hillary walked under her own power to the exit. She was supported part of the way. This is consistent with a lot of different things. But then the video appears, and here I must thank a multitude of observers, including Parkinson's disease family members. As the Scooby van rolls up, she's leaning against a bollard. A woman at her left is steadying her to prevent a fall either to the right or to the left. Her torso and head are wooden in their posture with no apparent conscious motion, and her right leg is rigidly extended. The Secret Service cannot allow a protected person to remain in one place like this during an extraction because that could allow a sniper to get off a shot, so they must get Hillary into the van as quickly as possible. And that's where the scene gets interesting. Hillary does not assist the team in any way. As they pull her forward, her right leg buckles and she falls forward. They continue to carry her forward into the van, but her head does not turn. Her neck does not bend forward, but remains rigid. Then we lose our view of her. If you or I are falling forward, we will act to protect ourselves. We will push our hands forward to break our fall while bending our head forward to see how we can best protect ourselves. Hillary does none of this. She is frozen in position, incapable of protecting herself or assisting the team. It's as if she's a mannequin. Let's tell the story as if Hillary has Parkinson's disease. When she decided to exit, her levodopa levels were falling. She had familiar symptoms of an off state on its way, so she decided to beat feet to the exit, but she wasn't quite quick enough. The Secret Service didn't get the Scooby van to the curb in time, so she had to stop for a few seconds. During that wait, she had a Parkinson's freeze. Fortunately, she was at the bollard and could be gently leaned against it while being steadied. A few seconds later, the van arrived and Hillary was still in the middle of the freeze. She was aware of events, but the freeze prevented her from getting any commands to her body. The Secret Service couldn't wait, so they started her forward. Her body did not cooperate. She was a mannequin. At this point, our medical reporter must ask if it is appropriate to take a pneumonia patient who has collapsed anywhere but a hospital. It's obvious that this illness is serious. But they go to Chelsea's apartment. The only way this makes any sense is if the problem is well known and it's not pneumonia. Continuing our hypothetical story, on the way to Chelsea's apartment, Hillary breaks out of her freeze. She takes a levodopa pill. In a few minutes, she's feeling better, and by an hour and a half, she's back to her normal. To show off how healthy she is, she goes outside, smiles, waves, and greets a kid. If Hillary has pneumonia bad enough to make her collapse, she's not going to be able to put on that happy face for the cameras. She's sick. So her PR stunt puts the lie to the story. You can see how the official story simply falls apart when examined, but all that does is show that Hillary is lying. When we add our Parkinson's disease hypothesis, we have an explanation that fits all the known facts. It is absolutely imperative that Hillary Clinton release all of her medical records. But we can't have a set of Lisa Bardack records. We have to have records that address the facts in the public record. Her movement disorder is a neurological problem. It's not like FDR's paralysis that didn't affect his mind. It's almost certainly a problem centered in her brain and affects her ability to simply do the president's job. Your political preference is unimportant. We have to have a president with the ability to think clearly at all times. Thank you. This is Dr. Noel.